Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela Moore, the owner of More Laughter Entertainment, where I am a comedian, a comedy show producer, and an actor. And I am here to talk about moving to LA after your 40s. Thank you for coming back to my channel, the More Laughter channel. If you like what I'm saying, please give it a like. If you want to hear more, because I will be coming on weekly, please subscribe. Thanks. So I'm going to get to today's topic. All right. So as you all know, I'm still new at this YouTube thing and posting on a regular basis. But today I wanted to talk about why I chose to move to LA after my 40s. I will say that it was not easy to do, but it was kind of something that was long time coming. I have always wanted to live in Los Angeles, California. I've always wanted to live in California. Every chance I had an opportunity to travel to California, I would take it and do it. There are times I came out to California a lot as an adult. And then sometimes when I had certain jobs that would bring me out to California, I was like, yes, I'm coming to Cali. California was my first trip as a baby to on a plane. So I was apparently 18 months, and my mom and dad said that we had gone out to California because we had family out there at the time, and visited them. So that was my first trip. And my mother said that I talked to everybody on the plane, and by the end of the ride, they all knew who Angela was. Also, I want to mention that in the summer of 2019, because of my love and desire for wanting to live in California, I decided to apply to an acting summer program with the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Los Angeles, well, actually in Hollywood to be more specific. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this LA thing, and that way it will let me know if this is something I want to do or not. I'll be able to be in LA. So I was like, all right, so I'm going to do it. So I signed up and I attended the acting program. It was a 2-month program, so that was really good. And ironically, it was the year before the pandemic because it was in the summer of 2019. So when I came back, I was feeling like, I don't know. I still like California. I still like LA, but I wasn't yes, I'm going to make this move because I realized like, whoa, if I were to live here, life would be kind of expensive. I was kind of up in the air about my decision. Fast forward, the pandemic comes. Boy, did we learn the fragility of life and the point of doing it now. There's no guarantee that you're going to be here tomorrow. Y'all, I don't know about you out there, but that really affected me a lot in 2020. I lost relatives, lost great family friends to COVID, and I myself had suffered from COVID in 2020, which is very different than suffering from it nowadays. In 2021, my great aunt, who was my grandmother's last living sibling, passed away, and she lived in San Diego, California. My cousin and I went and attended her services to represent the East Coast side of the family. We were there for, like maybe 5 days. And my cousin was like, well, if you want to go, we'll go up to LA. And I had arranged for myself to do comedy. I think it was the female open mic comedy show at Flappers, which is in Burbank. I went there, had a great set, got great reaction from the crowd. It was great. Afterwards, I went and mingled a little bit with some of the comedians, and one of the comedians was like, wow, your set was really great. You should just keep on coming back. And I was like, I can't because I don't live here. Y'all, that did something to me. That really did something to me. I don't want to leave. I want to stay in the West Coast forever. I hate the cold weather in the East Coast. Fast forward to January 2022. LA was on my mind a lot. I was just like, I'm just existing. I'm just living. I feel like I want to make this change, but I'm scared and I don't know how I would do it. The thing that spoke to me was I was watching this news story. I love watching CBS Sunday Morning. One of the reporters did a story on a lady. She had spent most of her adult life in chronic regret. And it was because she did not marry the true love of her life. And it was because her and the man were two different races. And at that time period, it wasn't culturally or society, shall we say, acceptable. The reporter said she was living most of her adult life in chronic regret. Let that sit for a second. I was like, oh my God, I'm living my life in chronic regret. This is not cool. Like, something's up with this. You all, my mind started churning, and I was just like, I feel like I need to make this change. I feel like I need to do something. Like I'm not living like I want to live. And especially coming out of the pandemic, the fragility of life, it's like I'm just existing. Like life is short. You got to do what you want, because tomorrow's not promised. Around January, February is when I came up on the decision, like, you know what? I think I'm going to move to LA. I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do this. My family doubted me a little bit. They didn't really believe me. I host live comedy shows, and I hosted my very last comedy show in Manassas, Virginia, the More Laughter Clean Comedy Show at Girardi Coffee House. Very successful run of comedy shows, and I did not tell the people, and mind you, I had built a large following of people that were coming to my shows. My shows used to sell out up until the pandemic happened. That was probably like the first good attended comedy show, which was March of 2022. Some people knew that I was planning to move to California, but I had not really publicly announced it. I had not said anything on social media or anything, because I was like, I want to do this, but what if it doesn't work? What if I can't do it? What if it's just such an overwhelming move? I may not be able to do it. And the worst thing is to announce to the world, because once it's out there, right? The worst thing is to announce to the world that, hey, I'm making this major move across country after 40. And then all of a sudden, that time comes that you say when you're going to move, and it doesn't happen. And I don't want to hear people go, I thought you were moving to Los Angeles. I thought you were moving to Los Angeles. So I was like, nah, I was like, no, I feel bad because I couldn't tell my regular followers, like, y'all, this is the last show. We had the comedy show. It was extremely successful. People enjoyed it. I was happy and sad at the same time because this comedy show was like a part of me. I think my comedy shows really established me as a comedian and as a comedy show producer. I come with creds, y'all. You know what I mean? I ended up watching a video on YouTube, and I don't remember the person's name. I just remember that she was talking about relocating, and she was like, because this spoke to me. She's like, when God tells you to move, you got to go. And I was like, okay, all right. And she's like, and God will send different signs, confirmations to let you know that's what you're supposed to be doing. So I was like, all right, cool. And she was like, in fact, what I'm wearing might be confirmation to someone. Well, my shirt is not confirmation. Yeah, it's a happy face. Maybe it's a confirmation to be happy. I was so engrossed in what she was saying that after she said that, I took a look at what she was wearing. And y'all, it said Los Angeles. I was like, oh my God. So that was confirmation to me, like, yeah, Los Angeles, you got to move to Los Angeles. Like, yeah, like, girl, you got to do this thing. Like, yeah, this is a sign from God. Like, you should move to Los Angeles. And I was like, okay. I started like making more announcements to people. I still hadn't posted it on social media. I had started packing up my house, you all, because I had been in my house for like 20 years. It was so major. It was so daunting, you all. Relocating to the West Coast from the East Coast was like the most physical, emotional, psychological thing that I had ever done in my life. It was so hard. I had like boxes from my childhood, boxes like from when I was in college, and all the summers I would come back home and empty out my dorm, like a lot of things that I had not processed through. It was rough. Honestly speaking, I was a hoarder to a certain extent. I had held on to a lot of things that I shouldn't have held on to, that I should have let go. But that's neither here nor there. So I had to hire help to help me process through stuff, be detached and let things go, because it's like, oh, you're moving to LA. You don't know really where you're moving to. You're not moving to an apartment. I can't take that stuff with me. So I had to, downsize like I have never downsized before. It was rough. You'll see a video coming up showing when I had talked about how I had to sell my stuff at a community yard sale, and I shared about my moving to LA and letting people know. So months later, I told my family that I was going to be moving in June of 2022. Y'all, May came and I was not ready. And June came, I was not ready. My mom was like, I thought you were moving to California. And I'm like, I am. I had a lot to do, a lot to shut down. It's so much. Around July, I went to do a comedy event in North Carolina with some other comedians that had met on this app called Clubhouse. I made a lot of connections on Clubhouse, which really kind of helped me out once I got to LA. I had so much paper that needed to be shredded. Like I was literally like online trying to Google who was having a community paper shred day, because I had accumulated so much paper, and I would just like, it was like a weekly thing where I had so much paper to get shredded. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to buy a paper shredder. I went to a retail store, a popular one, and I asked the customer service person walking around, like, excuse me, can you tell me where your paper shredders are? They're like, yeah, sure, follow me. And I happened to glance down at his name tag, y'all. It said Angelus. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, God, I am moving. I'm going to go. I'm leaving. I'm going to Los Angeles. Okay. Oh my goodness. It was just like, okay, how many more signs can you get than that? Okay. I've lived in 2 Spanish speaking countries, have met a lot of Spanish speaking people, Latinos, and I ain't never come across anybody named Angelus. So I just knew that that was a sign from God. Okay. There's one thing that I did forget to mention, is that when I was in school, I went through a period where I wanted to live in Los Angeles so bad. I had this fascination with Hollywood so much because I wanted to be an actor. When I was little, I was like, I want to be on TV. Instead of putting Angela Moore, I used to write Angelus. Angelus Moore on my papers. That's how bad I wanted to make this move. So this was like something a long time coming, you all. It was a long time coming. So I had a young lady who has been helping me out with my comedy shows since I started. And I had told her, like, before my last comedy show in March of 2022 that I was going to be moving to Los Angeles. So this is probably going to be the last comedy show. And so she was like, okay, I wish you the best. Months later, she tells me, hey, if you need a road dog to go with you cross country, I'll be happy to ride with you. I was like, really? Because y'all, I was like, I'm just going to make this journey by myself. She drove with me cross country. We went from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. I dropped her off in Las Vegas, Nevada, and she flew back on her own dime back to the East Coast. I also forgot to mention, because some of you all may be like, well, where? She keeps talking about the East Coast, the East Coast. So I need to be more specific. I am from an area called the DMV. If you're in the United States, you might be like, the DMV, like, why would she be living at the driver motor vehicle? I'm not from the driver motor vehicle, okay? I know I probably have the face like, hi, may I help you? Welcome to the driver motor vehicle. Or no, sometimes they can be mean, but for the most part, I've had great experiences. It's just the wait to see somebody, it's so long. I'm from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. That's where I'm from. And so that is my story. I am sticking to it. I appreciate you all tuning in to another episode of Moving to LA After 40, and take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Oh. Peace. Hi, this is Angela again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Until next time,